I'm going to kind of help you do is point out some of these structures. All of these yellow things right here, so you've got one there, 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 there. All of these things are your dendrites. So they receive messages into a neuron. This whole thing, starting from here, going all the way down to the end, all of this is the axon. Now what you see on here, these little blue bubbles, those are known as Schwann cells, and that's what helps to form the myelin sheath. Then you see a little gap here between the Schwann cells, and here you see another gap, another gap, another gap. That is your nodes of Ranvier. Okay, so this whole thing is a neuron. So we have our dendrites, our Schwann cells, our nodes of Ranvier, and then this whole thing is your axon. What we see here is a picture of the skin. So just to go through really quickly, remember this is the hair shaft. So if you get a haircut, that's what it goes through. Starting at the very top and going to about right here, all of this is going to be your epidermis layer. Starting from here and going to about here, all of this big thick layer that you see is your dermis, and then where you see these little eyeball looking circles here at the bottom, all of this is your hypodermis. The other things that you'll see here in the picture, these little globs here, you see one here, there's one right here, those are your sweat glands. And then these little guys, to me they look kind of like if you cut an onion in half with all the layers. And those are your Pacinian corpuscles, and they're involved with sensation of touch. Here we're looking at the picture of the brain. So we're getting a side image. This top one here is if the brain were sliced open. So what you see here, this is all your cerebrum, like all the different lobes. This kind of C thing right here is your corpus callosum. Right here is your hypothalamus, this little nub here. This is your pons, your medulla, and your cerebellum, which remember is involved with coordination, equilibrium, balance, that kind of stuff. Here, when we look at it from this angle, you should be able to identify the different lobes of the brain. So here we have our frontal lobe is all this area. Then you have your parietal, which is in here, your occipital toward the back, and then your temporal lobe right here. So again, be sure that you can identify those structures. The other thing you need to remember on the brain is that the bumps and the grooves. So you see on the outside, you see the little lines here for the grooves, and then everything else is the bumps. Remember that the bumps are the gyrus or gyri, and then the little grooves is called a sulcus. So please be sure that you know what those are. The other thing be sure you know, remember up here is your pons, that is involved with breathing. Okay? One quick thing, just a couple of side notes that maybe weren't on the review sheet, but things that you do need to be sure that you know. Please be sure that you know that your central sulcus, so remember we just said that a sulcus was a groove, this is going to separate your frontal lobe and your parietal lobe. So it is located right in between those two structures. Okay. The other thing to be sure that you know is that smooth muscle. This is located in the walls of hollow organs. So smooth muscle is in the walls of hollow organs. Also too, remember that your central nervous system contains your brain plus your spinal cord. So your central nervous system contains your brain and your spinal cord. And just a few other quick things. A frontal plane. So a frontal plane is going to divide the body. Divide the body into anterior and posterior sides. So all that means is front and back, but those are just fancy words. Anterior means front and posterior means back. Okay. Also know that what the cauda equina is, C-A-U-D-A E-Q-U-I-N-A, and this is just a collection of nerves at the end of the spinal cord. So a collection of nerves at the end of the spinal cord. And that should be everything that you need to know. So good luck on the final exam.